So the question usually comes up, when do I need a guard? Well, you need it in those areas that we just talked about. But in addition, you need to be using it if it has those areas and you're using that piece of equipment. That piece of equipment needs to be guarded. And there's really no time that the piece of equipment should not be using a guard. If you have a piece of equipment, let's just go back to our skill saw, and you got to take the guard off, it means you got the wrong sized saw, right? You need a larger saw. So instead of the 7 1/4, you go to a 10-inch, right? 12-inch blade, things like this, right? You need to go up in size if that's the case. So the bottom line here is never operate a piece of equipment that is supposed to have a guard that doesn't have a guard. If there's an older piece of equipment that doesn't come with a pre-manufactured guard, you may need to design a guard. And that really does get into this manufacturing piece where we need to look at, do we need to manufacture it, or is this something that we can buy? There's a lot of aftermarket guards that can be purchased and things like this. But bottom line here is, if you don't know whether or not the machine needs a guard, what do? We go back to the instruction manual, the manufacturer's instructions. We read that and we see what type of guard and what points need that guard. And most times we'll find that the guard's been taken off and somehow misplaced, and it's been used so much that now where the guard installation point is, we don't see it anymore because it's been covered up with dirt and grime and all the other stuff. But the bottom line, do I keep saying the bottom line? It's because it's the bottom line. You need a guard. You need a guard, and it should be there. And if it's not there, you need to manufacture one. If you don't know what to do, then get with your supervisor and make sure that that guard gets replaced or buy a new piece of equipment. Now, you can take a guard off in some very limited circumstances, and that is when you're making a repair or adjustment or modification that the manufacturer allows to that piece of equipment. So we never want to do a modification or alteration to a piece of equipment that the manufacturer doesn't allow. There's a variety of reasons for this. Number one, it voids our warranty. Number two, it voids their liability, and it puts all the liability on you. So if you create or remove or modify a guard in such a way that they don't recommend and you get injured, cut off a finger, slice your leg, that's all on you. And this is prevalent in the world of chainsaws, right? We have the front brake, and a lot of times we'll modify that, and what happens is when it kicks back on us, it doesn't work properly, and we end up cutting our shoulder, our face. Sometimes we even cut our hand because we try to stop it with our hand. So the bottom line, again, I'm saying it again, bottom line, you need a guard, keep the guard, manufacture the guard if there's no other way to put something on there, but don't be making alterations and modifications to equipment unless it's recommended, right? So I know that's kind of contradictory there. Make a guard for a piece that didn't come with it. Well, there's a requirement to have a guard. And really, truly, what you should do is get a new piece of equipment. There are exceptions, like big, large pieces of netting equipment or manufacturing equipment, whereby you've had it since the early or late 1800s, and it's still there. I see these out there. I see certain types of machines that are used in milling, certain types of machines that are used in fabric and netting companies, and they're there, and they need to remain there because it's the only thing that's manufactured that still does that job. But sometimes we have to look at how to guard it, okay? So with that, never, ever, ever, ever use a piece of equipment that doesn't have the proper guard. Don't do it. Don't take the guard off. Don't misplace the guard. Don't use the equipment without the guard. Don't take it off, okay? Make sure it's on there. Make sure you're using equipment with the guard. Am I driving this home? Because this is important. Don't take the guard off. Don't do it at all, ever, unless you are servicing the equipment and then you put the guard back on before you actually use the equipment.